Who I believe to be the true birthers of choosing beggars, it's entitled parents. Our first one is from Pieman12302. I went out to dinner with my mom tonight, even though I don't see her often. I am in the process of growing a beard. When she saw my face as I arrived at her house to pick her up, she reacted negatively, questioning why I would show up with facial hair, knowing that she hates it. I have been shaving my head bald until I left for college, and I always shaved when I came home for the holidays. This time, I stood my ground on my decision to keep my facial hair. She started throwing things at me and yelling about how I was disrespecting her and breaking my promise to never grow hair on my body, as she believes it is only for losers and the uneducated. I ended up going back to my place and just finished dealing with a visit from the cops, who came to interview me. My mom has been calling me non-stop, threatening that I will be fired from my job because of my beard, and saying she'll call my company to complain. Despite everything, I still feel like I failed as a son tonight because I wasn't clean-shaven and had facial hair. I don't feel like the OP's a failed son. I feel like their mom is a failed mom because the way she's acting with her entitlement and just kind of throwing a fit because she can't get her way is one of the most childish things one can do. This next one is by Emily Sunny 24. My mom bought a pony for me when I was 5 or 6. From that age until 18, I had to feed it daily, scoop manure daily, and ride it weekly. Not to mention the multitude of other chores that come with horses, such as stacking hay 3 times a year, or when temperatures get below 0, we'd have to blanket them and get them in the barn, all while freezing our own faces off. I had to skip hangouts with friends to go trail riding with my mom, or go to horse shows that I could care less about. I know this sounds like I'm spoiled to complain, but not being able to explore your own hobbies because horses take up your life, and your mom has a meltdown at the thought of you not riding with her, has made for some resentment. I'm now 27 with my first child on the way, and my mom told me she found a pony to buy her. She's not even out and breathing yet. Child is in the womb. I've expressed that I'm not into horseback riding, and I said if she buys a horse, I will not be taking care of it. I think that's fallen on deaf ears. I want to talk to her and to let her know that my future child will choose their hobbies of interest, and if she buys a horse for her, she cannot have any expectations that my child will ride it or care for it, unless this child wants to on their own initiative. Am I being weird or dramatic? My mom's emotionally unstable, so I'm careful to not totally put her hopes and dreams down, but also I don't want my child experiencing what I did. This is a fine example that goes to show that just because one is raised by an entitled parent doesn't mean they have to become an entitled parent themselves. Standing up for your kid, that's fantastic, and honestly, I'm 100% with the OP. I feel like their kid should be able to pick what they want to do, not have it picked for them. This next one is from, 16. I, 22 female, just got married on Friday. It was a gorgeous day and everything went perfectly except for my aunt. For context, we rarely get together as a family. They only get invited to larger milestones, such as weddings. Her one son, 25 male, cycles through girlfriends, and my rule for the wedding was they had to be dating longer than a year in order to be invited as a +1. This is the same stipulation my sister had at her wedding a year prior, and the same aunt caused issues about this, so I should have seen this coming. Anyways, 2 weeks before the wedding, we saw each other at a family baptism, and found out my cousin had a new girlfriend. Shocker. She did seem super sweet. I have nothing against her. So I spoke with my aunt and told her the final number were in for the venue for food, but since she lives in the same town as the reception, she could come at 9 once all the formalities were finished. She seemed pleased with this and said she would pass along the message. I didn't think anything of it until the wedding day. Cousin's new girlfriend was at the church. I thought, okay, that's not a big deal, whatever. But after the church, we were doing extended family photos. She was there. with my cousin inviting her, not any pick he's in. At that point, I was pissed, but it was cold and I wanted to be done with pics, so I let it slide. Once photos finished and we were waiting for dinner, cousin's girlfriend is still there. So I go talk to my mom and ask what's up, like did she know anything? And she's like, Aunt talked to me today saying that cousin's girlfriend is coming and we'll all just scoop food off our plate for her. Didn't talk to me at all. And it's not even about the food, but like a physical place setting. I had individualized cards for everyone and everything was neatly laid out, and she just pulled up a chair to cousin's table. All my siblings who spoke to her all said she's so sweet and likely did not know she wasn't even invited, and more likely my entitled aunt said she could come and that it was fine. My mom told me it's okay and to not get worked up about it since my grandparents who came from overseas were here for the wedding too. I didn't say anything about them and they never spoke to me the entire evening. Now I'm wondering if I should message my aunt and say how incredibly disrespectful her behavior is, or if I should just let it go. Most of my family is telling me to get over it and saying, oh, that's just who she is, but she shouldn't be able to get away with that. So what should I do? If I should message her, what should I even say? I mean, on one hand, yeah, you could let it go. You could just pretend like it never even happened, but on the other hand, that was your wedding and your aunt didn't really have a right to invite people without consulting you first. I feel like if a message is necessary, at least keep it just to the point and respectful. That way the aunt can't blow anything up. This next one is by Carmium. A new and rather upscale Chinese restaurant opened not far from us, and we agreed with Dad that we, Dad and 3 late teens, should try it. Word was that you actually had to make reservations. This place was so popular and Dad did that. Reservation for 4 at 7 o'clock. The day came and Dad suddenly gets the idea to invite his mom, who lives alone and doesn't even like Chinese food. But she eagerly agrees and we eventually show up at 7. Dad gives our name, says we have reservations. You have a reservation for 4, not 5. No, I said 5. Dad lies as we cringe. I took the reservation. You said 4. No, I said 5. The host reluctantly decides to lead us to a booth clearly designed for 4 people, then finds a hard chair to put at the end of the table. I draw the short straw and get the chair. We decide on 4 dishes to share and place our order. Any Chinese place, in our city anyway, will bring your choices out on big platters at the same time and everyone digs in, filling their plate. Only this time, 1 platter arrives. We eventually start picking at it out of desperation and maybe 10 minutes later, another dish arrives. Another 10 and number 3 arrives. Number 4 shows up half an hour after the first. How to get your payback on some lying guy who demands you produce seating for 5? We did not enjoy the meal, and I think the staff didn't mind getting stiffed on the tip. I don't know if Dad got the message. See, if you make a reservation and you had to change it, all you had to do was pick up the phone and call and see if you could do so. Like, trying to pull a fast one in the moment, I'm surprised they were even sat. I definitely see that as a form of revenge from the staff though. Hopefully the dad learned his lesson. And our final one is from Evan Gomer. I was talking to my parents when they were outside and then they mentioned how they accidentally slammed the door on one of our dog's head and they wanted to test if it hurt. So their genius idea is to close the door on my head because my head is in the path and they say they want to test it. And I think they're joking because that's insane to do, but no. They just close it on my head and say, it was just a joke. It shouldn't have hurt, it was a light tap. Why are you making such a big deal out of this? Meanwhile, my head is ringing like crazy and having a headache. They get mad at me for being upset at them and try to guilt trip me and saying, why are you still stuck on this? It's not a big deal. You're just a weakling. You're really gonna be that over the top? You were behaving so well recently and you have to ruin it now. My head still hurts like hell and I'm just going to sleep now and try to feel better tomorrow. This doesn't sound like entitled parents, they sound like abusive parents. I mean, honestly, I'd love to see them put their head in a door and let it get slammed on their head. I guarantee you they wouldn't. They'd pull out because they know it would fucking hurt. What kind of idiots would even think of doing such an experiment? Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled Parents. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.